What is something good going on in the world that a lot of people aren't aware of? An eastern black rhino was just born, a complete surprise to the rangers who protect the 1,000 remaining in the wild. They are critically endangered, the rarest of the subspecies, and this is a monumental occasion. There are about 10 to 12 million people in the United States who quilt. Most of them belong to quilt guilds that donate to homeless shelters, veteran shelters, other types of places where people need blankets. My quilt guild donated over 800 this year, and we only have 80 people in our guild. Oh my god, you guys rock! So each person made 100 quilt blankets. That's kind of insane. They're successfully rewilding beavers in the UK. Was there like a beaver shortage in the UK? I'm not aware of that. But either way, hell yeah! Humpback whales are no longer endangered. They were endangered? Why don't I know this stuff? I'm dumb. Global efforts to reforest areas are making a significant impact. You love to see it. Teen pregnancy rates hit a historic low in 2022. The ozone layer is thickening. I'm hoping that means that the ozone is like repairing itself. The global movement to plant trees is quietly making strides. India set a world record for planting over 66 million trees in a single day, contributing to a positive impact on the environment and climate. Sodium-ion batteries might start replacing lithium-ion batteries soon, which would be much better for the environment and generally cheaper or more convenient. Researchers have successfully cured HIV in several non-human primates. We're close to a real cure. That feels like groundbreaking news. Why have I not heard of this? Why have I not heard of most of this? Thank you, OP, for this question. So easy to get caught up and only see the bad. I appreciate you drawing attention to the good. Me too, actually. There's often a lot of pretty upsetting stuff in these, so this is nice. What is a little bombshell your therapist dropped in one of your sessions that completely changed your outlook? I haven't had the best experiences with therapy, so I'm gonna sit this one out. If you don't have these problems with any other person in your life, why do you think you're the problematic person in this one? You can't control your emotions, but you can control what you do with them. At the time, I was a young adult who had learned zero healthy emotional regulation skills, only suppression and shaming growing up. So this blew my mind. I was at a high-stress time and I asked her how people live like this. She replied, "Oftentimes they have cardiac events." She said it as an urging to care for myself as much as possible. I get the sentiment, but it does almost feel like she was saying, well, you're just gonna have a heart attack. That's it. Accepting something doesn't mean you have to like it. That took away a lot of my inner conflicts about situations because I could accept a situation without expending energy internally fighting against the injustice of it. Why do you make people more comfortable when you are uncomfortable? When talking about people-pleasing and fawning. Okay, ow. I don't like that one. Ow, that's speaking to me too much. I don't like it. Stop. Stop trying to get everyone to agree. When you need everyone to agree, the least agreeable person has all the power. Really changed my outlook on planning family events. Not gonna lie, that one's actually kind of bars. That's good. For context, I had a major TBI, seizures, strokes, and all around not a fun time when I was 28. You have to grieve the loss of yourself. Most people wanted me to go back to how I was. The effed up truth is that part of my brain is dead. The person everyone, including myself, knew died. I needed to grieve the loss of myself. That my job/career is just a way to make money. It's not my life or identity. Took a lot of pressure off of me. I feel like a lot more people need to kind of realize this idea. Like, if your whole life revolves around your work, and especially if it's work that you hate, you need to make a change, because work is not worth it that much. Like, yes, it is because you need money, but, don't make it your whole identity. I told her I think I'm just a weak person. She drew a timeline of the last year on a whiteboard and asked me what significant things had happened. I had 7 unrelated traumatic events unfold in that year, 2019, and I just stared at it. She told me most people only go through 1 to 3 traumatic events of that magnitude in their whole lifetime, and I cried. I didn't look at it and think, wow, life sucks for me. I looked at it and was amazed at my strength. Life kept throwing horrors at me, and yet there I was, sitting in therapy, still fighting. I still doubt my strengths, but whenever I remember that moment, I realize I am made of steel. No matter how beaten down you feel from all of the events that have occurred in your life, just remember you are still here. You are strong enough to get through it. I mean, you have already. Am I the only one lurking in the comments for free therapy? Not me, just a therapist looking for a new great idea. How was anger expressed in your household growing up? Were you allowed to show anger? At which point I realized I wasn't allowed to show any negative emotions whatsoever, especially not in reaction to negative emotions from my parents. Simple questions like that can be surprisingly eye-opening once you really think about it. Your urge to self-harm is perhaps a desire to tell those around you something that you don't know how to articulate. Don't think of the relationship as over, think of it as complete. Fundamentally changed how I was processing a tough breakup. So helpful. Also, your partner should enhance what you like most about yourself. It made dating so much easier. No need to settle for less than that. At the end of my first therapy session, do you realize you've said the word sorry 30 times in 50 minutes? And that's the day I stopped apologizing for taking up space. That's a lesson I'm still trying to really work out in my noggin. I'm sorry. Oh shit, I did it again. We judge ourselves by our intentions and everyone else by their actions. What's a life hack that's so simple yet so effective, you're shocked more people don't know about it? When looking at recipes online, click the print link. This cuts out the unnecessary backstory and random musings. You can also save the recipe as a PDF to your computer or even just the link to the printable version. Oh my god, thank you so much. Why were people keeping that a secret from me? I don't care about how your grandma made this recipe. I just want to know how to make your two-step cookies. Always write down momentarily good ideas. Don't lean on your memory. I definitely need to employ this because, my god, the amount of, ideas I think are good, I'm like, ooh, yeah, I'll remember that. A day goes by, no, not even a day, 12 hours goes by and it's gone forever. I'll never remember it. Store cans of baked beans upside down so you don't have to scrape them out of the bottom when you open the can. Okay, I think I see your logic, but it's still a cylinder, so flipping it upside down, yeah, it'll get the beans on the, air quote, top of the can, so are you opening the can while it's upside down? What's your strategy here? My grandmother always said that if you feel terrible, get out of bed, take a shower, do your hair and put on clothes, down to your shoes, and have a good meal. Either this will fix it, or you're dressed and fed and in a better place to deal with the problem. She was right. I know how nice it can be to rot in your bed. I do it quite often myself, but it is probably better to get up and at least shower just so you feel a little bit more refreshed in the day. If you have an itchy mosquito bite, heat up a spoon under semi-hot water, like 45 to 50 degrees Celsius, dry it off and tap or press it on the bite. Just as short as you can tolerate it, but also as long as possible. The heat dissolves the protein that makes the mosquito bite itch. If you're putting together furniture, leave all the screws a little loose. Finish the whole thing. Place it where it's gonna be, wiggle it so it settles into place. Then tighten all the bolts. No wobble. Take the advice you find on the internet with a grain of salt. I'm skeptical of your advice. Yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna listen to that guy. I'm gonna wholeheartedly believe every single thing I've ever read on the internet. And that's why the Earth is flat, and I also have nanochips in my brain. Percentages are reversible. Working out 4% of 50 will give you the same result as 50% of 4. This is great, except I'll probably forget it whenever the time comes to have to do some quick math. Does that rule apply all the time? Because, I feel like there are some situations where the flipping the percent and the number won't work out the same. But I'm also not a mathematician, so buy a bunch of the same style and color socks, and you never have to match socks again. I have a drawer with just socks, and every time I reach in and grab two, I have a pair of matching socks. Game changer. Wait, are your socks just sitting loosely in your drawer? Are you not folding them up or rolling them into, little pairs? Does anyone do that, or am I the crazy one? Window key plus V brings a clipboard of everything you've already copied. far superior to Control V. Wait, there's no way that works. What? Control or Windows V? Oh my god, it's right there. Oh my god. Put skewers through asparagus like a ladder while grilling. Makes it easy to cook and flip evenly. Well, great idea if you like asparagus, but I'll never eat that devil vegetable ever again. When running into and talking with someone, move away from the door and or middle of the aisle. This isn't even a life hack. This is just common courtesy. If you don't understand this, I will find you and I'll do something all right. Ooh. There's a YouTube video showing you how to do that thing you don't know how to do. It's more likely than you think, actually. There really is a lot of good information out there on YouTube, while simultaneously, a lot of really bad information. What is denied by everyone but is actually 100% real? You can do absolutely everything right and still fail. On the flip side, you can do everything wrong and still have success. I do hate how unfortunately true those are. It can't get any worse. It can always get worse. Most evil, powerful people are actively supported and encouraged by everyday good people. If it is happening to someone else, it can happen to you. That is also true. Just because you think it won't happen to you doesn't mean it can't. Americans already pool money for healthcare. They just do it through a wholly unnecessary, greedy middleman that grossly jacks up the price and denies care. God, I love our insurance system. Thank you, Kaiser Permanente, for not helping. Double standards in almost everything. Parents having a favorite child. Now, definitely there are some parents that do love their children equally, but, I mean, a lot of parents are lying. They have a favorite. Rampant physical and medical abuse in mental health facilities. You don't have to be a bad person to end up in prison. It's like that other person said, you can do absolutely everything right, and you can also still get framed. What phrase needs to die immediately? I'm gonna be honest, I would really prefer if people would stop saying gooning and edging, especially when you're in school. Don't do that. That's gross. After reading all these, I just feel like we're sick of the internet. In these unprecedented times. Almost every time that's said, it's like, no, we had precedent to know that this could happen. Well, you just didn't care before. Just because you end a rant with do better does not mean you're right. It's almost like people are trying to speed run getting on the high horse just so they think they can win. Doesn't matter how high up on that horse you are, you're still wrong. Most corporate lingo, but touch base makes me want to rip my spine out. Okay, loving the feedback. We are gonna have to circle back and put a pin in that one for now, but next time we will be addressing this language barrier we're having. Nobody, literally nobody. Hello? Where'd everybody go? Why is nobody here? Help me! As an empath, I'm sensing you don't really like this phrase. Oh, weird. How did you know that? I guess you are just that empathetic. POV, followed by a video that is not, in fact, POV. For those of you unaware, POV stands for point of view. So when you're saying it is my point of view of this situation, no, it's not if you show yourself in third person. That's not a point of view. If I don't remember, it didn't happen. MF, do you remember your birth? Actually, yeah, it was really dark, and then all of a sudden it was really bright. There were these giants standing around me, and I just started screaming in terror. Good times. I'm sick of IYKYK. If you know what it means, you know. If you don't, well, what am I gonna say? People don't like me because I tell it like it is. Are you telling it like it is, or are you just being very mean and just getting away with it with, oh, I'm just brutally honest. Nobody wants to work anymore. MFer, nobody wants to pay anymore. That's really all it is. It's the companies not wanting to properly compensate people. It's not that people don't want to work. They do. They just want money that's appropriate for the job they're doing. You're not a real man/woman if you can't/don't. You're not a real man if you're a hologram. Well, I guess, yeah. This, and it's some BS comment. Now this is what, this. If you can't handle me at my worst, you don't deserve me at my best. Yeah, that one does make me a little sick. Tell me you don't, insert thing, without telling me you don't, insert thing. It was a good format for a while, but it's really lost its steam. Louder for the people in the back. Cringe. You forgot this part. I mean, I don't know. I think the clapping is fine. It helps emphasize sometimes. Would you like to add a tip? 18%, 25%, 30%. It would be a little nice if we got rid of this tipping phrase, but, you know, until companies pay their employees, just give them 25%. It's not that bad. What started out as an internet rumor that ended up being infamously true? Michael Jackson writing the music for Sonic 3. He actually did, but was never credited on the game because it would breach his contract with his record label. Is that? Oh my god, I guess I'll have to watch that video. I distinctly remember some rumors about the reason why Bruce Willis was taking so many roles in bad movies before it was announced he has dementia. I'm sorry, did I miss the memo? Did that happen? That North Korea hacked Sony Pictures because of the Interview movie. My partner worked on that movie, and the production bought all the crew 1 year of identity theft tracking service. Oh, the Interview. What a strange time in history. This predates the internet, but there was always a rumor that you could jump over the flagpole in Super Mario Bros. Even as a kid in the 80s, I thought it was BS. Turns out it's true, LOL. Well, of course it's true. It just sounds like a skill issue to me here, bud. Ricky Martin's sexuality. Who? Am I too young or... Who? Diddy has had a long history and reputation for his behavior for ages before everything started hitting the fan. I'm talking decades. I remember seeing rumors about Kevin Spacey on Tumblr before everything came out. I think it was around 2013 to 15. The post was talking about how he was secretly gay and that back in his hometown he was known for always spending time with young men. I told my friends about it because we were big House of Cards fans and none of them believed me. Then it all came out a few years later. Still, one of the craziest defenses this guy could have done was, I was touching little kids, but no, it's okay because I was gay. Like, I've been gay the whole time. What do you mean, man? Like, you're crazy. Because of all the fake death notices, no one believed at first that Paul Walker had actually died. I actually kind of remember that. That was really messed up. In 2010, Joaquin Phoenix infamously announced that he was quitting his acting career for good and becoming a rapper. No one believed it, and so many people on the internet said it was just a performance for a mockumentary movie. And he then later released a mockumentary movie about it, and admitted it was all a gag, to the surprise of no one. The stuff about Louis C.K. was floating around the internet for years before it all blew up. Same with Harvey Weinstein. It really does suck that a lot of people got away with what they've done for so long because people weren't, paying attention to internet rumors. Every year around her birthday, there was a rumor of Betty White died. When I heard she died, I scoffed, saying that dumb rumor is back, then saw it on the news. I was in shock. I do remember that one was a real bummer. She was so close to breaking 100. It's just a bummer, I don't know. What seems to be universally hated on Reddit, but is actually popular in the real world? Showering, I'd say, is a pretty big one. Pretty much everything. I come on Reddit and I'm like, people are so mean and weird. I go in the real world and I'm like, people are friendly and awesome. This kind of points out how, dangerous social media can be. You gotta unplug once in a while, because it is just all doom and gloom that you're seeing on your feeds. Helping other people. No, you're not obligated to turn down your music at 8 p.m. so your next door neighbor can get their newborn to sleep. But come on, dude. Going outside and doing things. Outside? Like where bears and shit are? No thanks. Nuance. My wife had a nuance once. She said it was terrible. Seems like a red flag. Should divorce her just to be safe. Staying together with your spouse after a minor inconvenience. Am I the a-hole for forgetting to do the dishes and then screaming at my wife about it? Emojis. I will admit I used to be an emoji hater myself, but for some reason the brain rot has gotten to me. Children. No, actually out in the real world I also still don't like them. Video games. Most game subreddits, the community craps on the game. Although, the majority of the gamers for those games aren't on Reddit and actually enjoy the game. People who hate a game either play it for 5 minutes or 500 hours. Only one of their opinions is valid, the 500 hours one, just to be clear, because if you've played a game for 500 hours, you know why you hate the game. Popular stuff. Assassin's Creed, Apple, McDonald's, you name it. Reddit hates it, and believes everyone does too. But these things are popular for a reason. Nestle. Ask damn near anyone, and they have no idea Nestle has done any of its misdeeds. Mention their name on here, and it is calling an incantation for the devil. Religion. Estimated 5.8 billion people claim affiliation with one. This is the topic of one of my favorite lines from This Is the End, LOL. There's a god? Who would have predicted there would actually be a god? About 95% of the global population. Capitalism. Capitalism is when anything bad. There are quite a few people outside of Reddit in the real world that also hate capitalism. Like, let's say poor people. What is something you cannot believe modern technology hasn't fixed yet? Companies can take money out of my account in like 10 seconds, but if I need a refund, sometimes it takes a week or more. I mean, I sort of understand how this works just because I've had to issue refunds and explain this, and it's because banks take forever to process it. But it is strange how quickly your bank will process you giving the money, but you getting it? Nah, I've got to wait like 3 weeks. Why isn't there a process to re-enamel teeth? I feel like I've seen an article where dentists were trying to figure that out, but I might also be talking out of my ass, so don't listen to me. Why my new boxer shorts are packaged in a Ziploc bag, but cereals are not. Oh my god, that's an amazing point. Why aren't we putting cereals in? Like, we do have some cereals that come in those big old Ziplocs, but why not just the regular bag in the box? What are we doing? The PA system on airplanes. Still can't understand a word the pilot says. Mostly, he says, It is a little strange why we haven't, upgraded the PA system, because it sounds like I'm ordering in a drive-thru when the pilot's talking to the plane. Effective treatments to stop the progression of dementia. I do think a lot of the medical issues that we could probably be solving comes down to the good old-fashioned thing called money, and people not wanting to pay people to research it, so they can't. The reverse microwave. To allow me to chill a beer from room temperature to fridge temperature in under 2 minutes. I mean, they do kind of have this. Like, in some liquor stores, they have a little tub with ice water that just rotates in a whirlpool, and if you dunk some bottles in there, they just chill off in like a minute or two. My TV should have a button on it that pings the remote when it's buried 8 feet in my couch. Sorry, are you saying you have an 8-foot couch? Not lengthwise, but you have an 8-foot deep couch? How? Getting wireless inkjet printers to actually work wirelessly. I want a machine that washes, dries, and folds laundry at the touch of a button. It would be nice. It's really just the folding aspect that I cannot stand. What's the most small-town thing you've witnessed? We have a village Facebook page. Every time the ice cream man drives into the village, the entire page goes ballistic. People send live updates of where the van is and which direction he's heading. The ice cream man has started accepting DMs so he knows which streets to go down. That's actually really cute, at least even for the ice cream man to respond to people like, oh, okay, yeah, I'll be there. I'm from a town of less than 2,000 people. When I worked at the grocery store there, people would often drop off stuff for my family members because they didn't want to drive all the way down to our house. I no longer live there, but recently got a call from my sister. She had been stopped for speeding and handed over her license and insurance, which happens to be in my mother's name. The officer goes, "Hey, you're Donnie's granddaughter. I ain't gonna write you a ticket, but I'm telling Donnie when I see him tomorrow, 'cause we're going fishing." She replied, "I think I'd rather have the ticket." The traffic on the main street of my town is so sparse, 2 drivers going opposite directions can stop and talk to each other for a few minutes without causing any problem. I live in a small town, and people will do that even if there is traffic. And that's why those people deserve to get their cars hit. A guy robbed a bank, and everyone knew immediately who he was, and the teller got mad at him. Well, I feel like regardless, the teller would be mad that, he got robbed. I lived in a small town. When I moved there, people would ask, "Whose house did you buy?" Moved to a small town. 30 years later, you are still the new guy. Lived in a town of about 5,000. A woman walked into the DMV on a Friday, saw that there were 3 people ahead of her, and left to come back another time when they weren't so busy. I'm sorry, 3 people at the DMV and that's too busy for you? Come on. My hometown got a McDonald's in 1976. The town had a parade for it. Left the grocery store and forgot a bag. Another customer brought it to my house. I mean, I guess that's nice, having people know where you are to give you things if you lose it. But it is a little creepy that they found you. What quietly disappeared in the past 20 years without many people noticing? As I've recently noticed, dumb TVs. Good luck trying to find a decent new TV that isn't smart. Well, are you saying smart TVs are bad? Like, I'm confused on the take here. The cent symbol. You know, you're right. I really don't ever see people, like, labeling their prices with cents anymore. Granted, nothing costs that cheap anymore, so I guess it makes sense. Oh, you get it? Cents? The ability to buy something without wanting your email, phone number, address, subscription, etc. Candy bars wrapped in foil and paper. Well, those are still around, it's just, you know, on the small, like, Halloween candy versions. Newspaper vending machines. I used to see them everywhere as a kid. Saw one the other day and realized I hadn't seen one in years. Kinda seems like a crazy concept now. You would put in 50 cents and it's on the honor system that you pull out just one newspaper. Oh yeah, I never like thought of the name for them, but yeah, those little boxes you'd just see downtown. What happened to those? People having their watches set to slightly different times. Was there ever a point to that, or was it just because we could never coordinate it properly? What isn't nearly as bad as Reddit would have you believe? Working through relationship problems. Oh, no. If there's even the slightest problem in your relationship, you gotta divorce, you gotta break up, you gotta kill them. Don't actually do that last one. My mental health. Not everything means I'm a sociopath with ADHD. Going to social events and/or having a large or multiple friend circles. Just because someone is an acquaintance and not a best friend is not a bad thing. You can still enjoy their company. This is very true. Everything. This site loves to complain and take everything to the extreme, agreeing to disagree and moving on. The average Redditor gives advice like being correct and proving one's correctness is extremely important, even in casual conversation. As someone who used to be that way, I cannot emphasize how much less stressful life is if you're willing to just move on and compromise, even if you think you're 1,000% right. Obviously, there are things you should never compromise on, but those are a lot easier to recognize when you let the small disagreements go. You do not get explosive diarrhea when you eat Taco Bell. Okay, speak for yourself. Sometimes it does mess with me, but that is only times when I've gotten food poisoning, so strange stats, I'd say. The 9-to-5 cubicle job. As someone who thought he'd do manual labor and retail BS their entire life, I love my office job. I can only imagine your office job is not customer-facing at all, like no phone calls or anything, because oh my god, dealing with customers is the worst part of a job. Seeing both sides of an argument. God, this site runs on absolutism. Well, yeah, cause everything is black and white. There's no way anything could be gray. It's just not possible. I know a few single fathers. Not a single one has ever felt in any way judged for taking their kids places. They're just a dad at a park. To hear Reddit tell it, every single father on the planet is immediately arrested and thrown in prison without trial for being near kids. Extroverts. I got adopted by one once. You know what I did? I got out of my comfort zone. I met new people. I tried new things. I had a blast. Quit giggling over canceling plans last second and effing try saying yes sometimes. Sometimes you do just need to say yes. Like, as much as you might feel uncomfortable before going, you never know how comfortable you'll get while doing the event. What was hugely hyped up but flopped? Quibi. 1.75 billion blown in 6 months on a streaming service no one wanted. I think I actually got Quibi for free through like T-Mobile or something, and a couple of the shows were good, but the format of it, just what were they thinking? 3D televisions were presented as the next huge thing. There was a massive amount of hype being able to watch 3D movies and games from the comfort of your living room. It flopped when it launched due to the televisions being ridiculously expensive and the technology not being there during the era and being gimmicky once the appeal wore off for the people that bought them. I know only one person in my life that had a 3D TV, and he still has it to this day, and he will die on that hill that 3D TVs are awesome, but I'm sorry, man, I'm not getting one.
What was that Google social media with circles? Google Plus?
Oh, Google Plus. What a strange time in internet history. But thankfully, the witch is dead, so we don't have to worry about it ever again. The Segway. What are you talking about? They revolutionized mall security. For real, I mean, ever heard of Paul Blart Girl? Yeah, the Mr. Mall Cop. Tell me you watched that movie and didn't want to ride a Segway. Zuckerberg's weird avatar world. Didn't help that commercial for it made it look like a chaotic melatonin fever dream. The American version of Coupling, which was being hyped as the next big NBC sitcom after Friends went off the air. When cast members were doing interviews to promote it, they were so assured that it would be a success that they were already talking about multiple seasons. It was canceled after 4 episodes. Coney 2012. I was hoping someone would bring this one up. It was literally everywhere. Everyone knew about Coney and his army of child soldiers and cared passionately about it. Then it just disappeared from public knowledge. Coney is still at large. His army has largely disappeared, but he has still never been brought to justice. And few in the West even care now. Didn't the movement die out because it was found out or something? The director of that documentary was just taking the money. He wasn't doing anything with it to help the cause. He was just hoarding the money he was getting donated. I could be completely wrong, so, never listen to me. 2020.
I love seeing the memories from 2019 with the resolutions and the 2020 is gonna be my year stuff.
I don't know why, it's kind of funny to just say, oh yeah, a year flopped. Which, I mean, it did, rightfully so. It's rightfully labeled, but it's just funny. The end of the world in 2012. I think around that time is when my existential crisis started kicking in because I was 12 years old and everyone's saying, well, the world's gonna end, so you're gonna die. How was I supposed to adjust from that? Killer/Africanized bees. Lots of fear-mongering over those in the 80s. Over a lot of nothing. They got mated out of existence. The more docile European honeybee got their fuck on and chilled them out. Yeah, I love when bees get their fuck on. Threads. Nobody thought it would take off, but it instantly became a huge hit. Then it flopped. I mean, it seemed like an okay replacement. Did I ever really use it? No. Metaverse. The only person in the world that was excited for it was Mark Zuckerberg. I just love how he tried hyping up how exciting it was, and it's like, dog, we've had VR chat since 2014. We've already done this. If you ask my parents, me. Damn, ow, don't say that about yourself. I mean, I guess you're saying your parents are saying that, but come on. Your special uniqueness as a child. Yeah, I think when I was younger, I used to be considered one of those gifted kids, but now, I'm just a burnout who barely pays his rent. Smello Vision. Nickelodeon had a field day with it in 2002. I think I remember that. Didn't you essentially get a scratch and sniff card and have to use it when the TV prompted you? It might have been a little low-tech, but I still liked the vision. The Smello Vision. I'll see myself out. Scooter sharing. Raised millions for a bunch of companies to dump those scooters on our streets, then in a matter of time, cities and towns started to either ban or regulate them. And there's very few survivors. For the price to ride a scooter, it's way cheaper to pay to ride the bus. I mean, I thought they were cool for a time, but it really got bad when people just stopped caring about sidewalk etiquette and just dumping them wherever. Millennial retirement. A thing can't flop if it doesn't exist. Unfortunately, very true. Trump's border wall. Trump's everything. Yeah, I love how hard he was pushing for that and literally nothing happened. And what are his supporters doing? Ignoring that it didn't get put up. Ultimately, every president lies, and they will never keep their promise to you. What movie is really sad when told from the villain's perspective? Baby's father in Dirty Dancing. Dude just wants to have a nice family vacation. Meet the Robinsons. Goob just needed some sleep is all. Oh, I always forget about Meet the Robinsons. It's such a good movie. I think I might actually go watch that. Mrs. Doubtfire. Because imagine how scared Pierce Brosnan was when Mrs. Doubtfire tried to kill him with pepper. If you think about it, most romance movies that center on the main character being in love with a person in a relationship, The villain is a person acting defensive and jealous because the main character keeps trying to make moves on their partner, and their partner allows it. Their partner then emotionally cheats and leaves them for the person they shouldn't be worried about. But that's okay because they're not the main character, and they were mean a few times to the main character for being a skeeve. Yeah, I mean, in a lot of those cases, it really is just a situational villain. They're not actually a bad person. If anything, in this situation, the main character's the villain. B-movie. A bee stole this man's girlfriend. I'd be pretty pissed too. I'm not saying Scar was right for killing his brother and running the Pride Lands into the ground, but they call him Scar because he had a physical deformity. Before he was nicknamed Scar, his parents named him Taka, which means garbage. Oh, hi, let me introduce you to my sons, King and Garbage. How is that not setting your youngest up for failure? I guess I see what you mean. He definitely didn't have to kill his brother, but he had a strong motive. Man, the Grinch just wanted to hang out with his dog on the mountain and asked his stupid neighbors to shut up. True, but they also weren't like asking him to break into their homes and steal all of their decorations and presents, so I don't know, it's still not the greatest. Jaws. Bruce is just trying to be a shark, man. Squidward from SpongeBob SquarePants. All he wants is some peace and quiet. As long as that yellow square lives next to him, Squidward will never know peace. The Land Before Time. That T-Rex just needed to eat. I mean, I guess, yeah, that's the cycle of life, but don't eat the main characters. Kato from the Hunger Games. He's been brainwashed to believe that the games are an honor. He's trained his whole life, but then he gets into the arena and it's a lot of killing and awfulness. Then he loses, dies a long death, and all his preparation and fanboying isn't worth anything. What is your don't ask how I know random fact? Don't ask how I know this, but your bones, they're wet. They're wet right now. Male and female beavers have different colored fluids that come out of their anal glands. In males, brown, and in females, white or clear. It is one of the main modes of gender identification, as they don't have external genitalia. Cool! Glad you know that, and now I do, too. There's a guy in Germany who has a 1-year waiting list and makes 6 figures making leather harnesses and masks for people who like to roleplay as horses. A stable income. Good for him. Old human bones are very porous, so if you lick them, they'll stick to your tongue. Okay, question. Have you been licking bones recently? A pigeon will only eat a starburst if you chew it up a little bit first. Just to clarify, chew the starburst, not the pigeon. Oh, thank you for the clarification. I have made that mistake before and I don't want to make it again. Turmeric can be used as clothes dye. It is capable of permanently dyeing cotton cloth even after it has passed through the digestive tract of an adult male. You shit your pants, didn't you? I would prefer not to answer that question. Well, by not answering, you have answered, so we know you poo-pooed in your pants. If you ever trying to survive in the Arctic, don't eat polar bear liver. It is so high in vitamin A, it will kill you. You overestimate my hunting abilities. Yeah, if I'm in the Arctic, I don't think I have enough tools or supplies or knowledge or strength or really anything to be able to kill a polar bear. Instead of pushing out a turd, just take deep breaths. Just breathe deep and low. Allow the deep breaths to push out your turd. If you're going to shove something up your butt, make sure there's something at the base so that it can't go all the way in. That 14-inch zucchini may look like a good idea at the market, but the ER that night might have to tell you it wasn't. Asbestos tastes like chalk, and if you lick it, it has the texture of extremely gritty sandpaper, which is actually the feeling of microscopic asbestos needles piercing your flesh. Good to know. I didn't really plan on licking any asbestos at any point, really, so I guess good to know. You should wash your hands if you have applied Tiger Balm or Icy Hot, rub on any sore muscles before flicking your bean. That is pretty good advice. You never want to rub Tiger Balm or Icy Hot really anywhere on your body, but why are you flicking beans? I thought you eat those on toast. Oh, would you look at the time? I've got to go take my after video poop. Thank you all once again for watching. My name's Brandon, and I will give you a big ol' kiss. Mwah!